Welcome back to Dufferin Life. Thank you for staying tuned. I'm excited to introduce my next guest to you, Amazon best-selling author, Deborah Armstrong. Deborah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's good to see you again.
It is. Deborah and I have a past. We do. We used to actually be part of a networking group in Brampton many years ago, and that's how we met. And we used to see each other at different events around Brampton, Caledon area for sure. But we've just recently reconnected to get caught up, and I wanted to introduce Deborah to all of you, which is why I'm calling this segment Deborah's Story. So, Deborah, let's start talking about how you got started into writing, when you got started, and why. Why did you choose to be an author?
I don't know if you choose to be an author. I think it hits you that, hey, you have a story to write. I think you should write it. I majored in English and history at university. I attended Western. It wasn't until I hit the big 5-0 that I decided that I think I have a story in me. I had been devouring romance and other novels all summer. I'm a summer baby. And by the end of my birthday month, I said, I have a story. And I sat down and I started typing with no plan. And by the time I was finished, I had 2 romance novels done. So that kind of told me I've got stories to tell, and I continued with it.
Well, that is amazing. So you focus mainly on women's fiction, is that correct? So little bits of everything to do with women's lives and what's happening.
I call it is women's fiction. The heroine is a very strong female character, but my books do appeal to the male readers, and I do have a following there, and I have been sent emails and questions about my storyline, and I will have some of my characters quoted back to me. So my books appeal to both genders.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your writing process. So you said the first time you just felt you had a story in you and you wrote. So does it work the same way now? What's your writing process like?
It's called, it's referred to as pantsing, that you're writing by the seat of your pants. You just sit down and you just start writing, and hopefully by the time you come to the ending, you have a story. There's also plotting, where you plot out every scene, you know what every character is going to do. And I am trying to be a plotter, but I find I am a pantser. I sit down, my characters have spoken to me, and we just start the ball rolling and see where they take me.
So when you're starting a new novel, do you have all of the characters kind of planned out, or is that something that as you're writing you may be adding people in, or is it a little bit of everything? How does that work?
I generally have a sense of who they are because as I said before, they talk to me. They keep throwing scenes at me and phrases that they would say. So by the time I sit down and put them to, I say paper, but I put them on the screen, I know what they are. And I'm always happy with what they give me.
Absolutely. So is it a process? I'm so very curious about the process. I mean, I always thought I would love to write a children's book, but I've never actually sat down and thought, no, maybe I've had a few ideas. I've never done it. Is it something, how long is the process for you? Is this something that you work on for months at a time, years at a time before you have a new novel? Or is it just whenever it comes to you?
Well, the process is different for everybody. So I know some authors who publish a book every 3 months. From start to finish. And I would love to be able to do that. I am happy with 1 book a year.
Okay. And are you rough on yourself? Are you someone who edits your book 90 times before you submit it? Do you go back and change characters? I mean, obviously each book is different and each situation is fluid as to what's going on at the time. But are you one of those really hard on yourself people that will edit and edit and edit, or do you just go?
I I would hope by the fifth read through that I've done my job. I have to tell you that my first series I published in 2013, and I took them off the market and I revamped them. So I rewrote them, not a lot, but I found that my writing had improved in that time. So I changed the writing, changed the dialogue just a bit, but I kept the essence. And I have a whole new series covers for that. So now it looks like it's a series and the books belong together. So yes, it's something I do read through my work again and make changes, because technology changes. Things that I referred to in 2013 really don't apply today.
I know everything changes so quickly these
Well,
days.
everyone used to listen to their their iPod, whatever.
Mhm.
Now you just plug in your earbuds and listen to whatever you've got stashed on your phone. So I had to keep up with the technology.
Have you ever tried to write something out of your regular genre?
Uh, yes, I did. I have in the works a fantasy, paranormal fantasy.
Oh, exciting.
So I've got 4 chapters or so done on that, but I haven't looked at it in a while. But yes, that would be something I'd like to try.
That sounds interesting. I just the writing process fascinates me. We had this conversation a little bit earlier, but I'm going to ask you the question anyways. What writers inspire you?
Oh gosh, well I know, and we talked about this because I go way back, and I like dark humor. So Christopher Moore, if you've ever read his writing, um, it just love how he writes. John Irving, I love reading his books. Um, I know a few Ontario writers. There's Mary Sullivan. She was with Harlequin. Loved hers. They were sweet romances. Laura Lee I liked because of her paranormal series, and Charlene Harris I loved because of the vampires and True Blood. So I can't say that there isn't a book or an author that I don't like.
Do you read thrillers and horror type books?
I do. I do like horror. I know a horror writer, and I've got one of his books. I just have to sit down and read it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do you find it hard to read while you're writing your own? Like, do you stay away from reading other people's while you write your own books?
No, actually, you should read more, because you might come across something that helps you. You might find if you're struggling with a scene and you say, I really don't know how to get through this. And then you see something and say, oh yeah, that's how I could do it. Or yeah, I should read all the time, because we learn from other authors. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not to say that I copy what I've written or what I've read, but it's always a learning experience.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about starting out authors. What kind of advice, like anyone who's just thinking, maybe I can do this, maybe I have a story that I want to tell, what kind of advice would you offer them?
I would say write. Just start writing, and don't be focused on finding an agent or getting published, because you can do that yourself. But write and be pleased, be proud of what you're writing. It doesn't matter what it is. I see so many authors or want to be authors just stuck on a scene or a character, and just keep writing. Just write.
So what do you do when you get stuck? Like when you just can't pass a certain point, can't figure out where the characters are going to go from that point forward?
I'm doing that right now. I move on to another book. So I have two series on the go. So if I'm stuck with one, I will just think, oh, something might pop in for the other book, and I'll just pop over there and work on that. It's probably not a good way to go, but that's how I deal with.
Well, if it works for you, it's the best way for you. I mean, everybody, I guess, has their different process of how they would do it, for sure. Okay, so I have to I was on your website, and I'm just enamored with your fun facts about Deborah. Your
Okay.
10 fun facts.
They're
So
all
can you
true. They're all true.
You have a few minutes left, but let's talk about a couple of them. You had mentioned, I believe, tattoos in one of your fun facts.
I said that I am fascinated with tattoos. I love looking at them, but I do not have one. And I will actually approach strangers and ask them to tell me about their tattoos. And I have done that. I had one fellow, he stripped in front of me because his whole body was a tattoo. And it was a Halloween tattoo, and he wanted to give me the full effect of what he had been doing to his body. So yes, he dropped his pants and I got to see everything.
Well, that makes for an interesting part of the story, no doubt.
And because of that, my fourth book in my series, the main character is tattooed.
That's amazing. That was kind of where I was going from that. I'm like, you must meet a lot of interesting people, and I'm assuming part of that plays into some of your characters at times.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. You're working out at the gym and you see a fellow or a woman with a really interesting tattooed sleeve, and you go up to them and say, hey, do you mind can I ask you about your tattoo? And if they want to talk about it, great. And gives me ideas.
For sure. We've got about a minute left. And your first fun fact was that you actually won a Tim Hortons car, I believe.
Yes, I did.
So you're one of those few people that actually rolled up the rim and actually won something.
I rolled up the rim at Brampton Civic Hospital. I was with my daughter and waiting an emergency, and rolled up the rim, and it said I had a Toyota Corolla. So that was quite the surprise. And you do get to keep it. People thought it was just a lease or whatever. No, it's mine, and I still have it.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. We don't have a lot of time, but could you tell us about one of your favorite characters? We've got about a minute left.
Oh gosh. My favorite, it's my couple, my heroine and the hero, Quinn and Davina. They have 4 books and a novella, and they are amazing. A very affectionate, loving couple. They have trust. They have really good banter. I love writing their conversation because they zing back and forth, and they get each other, and they're my favorite. And I know that my readers connect with them.
I don't mean to cut you off. We've run out of time already, okay. Deborah. I'm so sorry, but I want to thank you so much for joining me and sharing a little bit about your life with us.
Thank you very much. It's been great to be with you.
Until next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.